Another cool, damp, gray morning. I've got a stiff neck. It's moving the heifers. Cows are brought in for milking. We were supposed to get rain this weekend. Here I am, typical farmer, complaining about the weather. Back in May and early June, it was too much rain. Over the spring, now, not enough. Kind of what I was afraid would happen is we haven't had significant rain for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and little dribs and drabs before that, but we've had really super hot weather. So the grass is stalled growing in places. It is coming back. Moisture like today will help, but unless we get a good inch of rain in the next little while, it's going to be difficult grazing into September. We're the 12th or 13th of July right now, I think. Can't remember. Anyway, it's this end of the field. We're catching up on the end of the field that hasn't regrown well, partly because of lack of rain, partly because I don't know why this end of the field is always delayed. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. A lot of compaction happens, a big wet area up in there. But the cows are actually grazing this section better than they were just a couple strips back, which I still have to top because of the manure spreader breaking yesterday and the amount of time it took me to deal with cleaning that mess up and everything, and finishing mucking out the barn and stuff. Astrid, horns, no. Yeah, I didn't get a lot done yesterday. So I gotta get the baler fixed today, that's the key. Spreading the manure was my gray day insurance about getting some fertility in this field, and we need the sulfur and all the components that the manure holds at least twice a year on this, in the amount that I was going to put down, so the grass grows better. But now that isn't going to happen until I can get a new manure spreader. And I can't spread urea until I know it's going to rain. Otherwise I just lose the value of the nitrogen and it burns off. So yeah, we're just going to hope that the cow pats and the clover are enough to help this recover right now. We'll try and make plans going forward. We are cleaning calf pens to get ready for a new calf. So I've thrown Percy in with Io. I thought about putting all 3 calves in that pen, but it's really just too small, given what a massive chunk Io is. Hi, sweetie. Demeter's no small beast either. So we've been freshening the bedding up every other day here, but it's time to get it cleaned up. We're going to put the 3 calves in this pen and leave the far pen for a birthing pen for Mabel, who's due any day now. Phase 1 is complete. Calves are together in there now. A little bit of a problem because I've got Percy, who's still on his mom at night. We put Trixie. We haven't been milking Trixie at night. We've been leaving Percy in, and really, technically, Io and Demeter are 2 months old or older and need to be weaned and out. But right now, we've got a lot of milk because it's going so well on the grass. And we don't need that much milk for the cheese at the moment. And Mabel's gonna freshen, but her milk will be going to her calf, and her milk could then also go to her surplus milk, because Mabel's a milky cow. Her surplus milk could go to the calves. So now they're in a nice clean pen. I guess I'll have to milk Trixie tonight, and we'll just feed baby on a bucket. He's huge, so he's only a month old, but he could be weaned at 6 weeks, 8 weeks, because he is gigantic. So now all I gotta do is finish mucking out and sanitizing the birthing pen. I think I'll clean it out and then leave it. to dry out a little bit before I sanitize. Remember those pigeon eggs I found out in the middle of the barn floor? We discovered a couple of different nests, but I think I found where the actual chicks have hatched and are grown now. Right up there. Oh, they were just being fed. At least they didn't build it over the trough. I was considering, there was a while there was some nesting or birds roosting above the cow trough. I was thinking I'd have to put some sort of roof over it, but they seem to have moved out with the summer and I don't have to do that anymore. Well, I called it. I said earlier today that it looked like Mabel might calve, and when I was getting the cows for milking, sure enough, it looked like she was starting to have contractions, so I wrestled her into the pen in the barn that I'd only just cleaned today, getting ready because she's not due for another 4 or 5 days, and she did not want to go in. Thankfully, Allison was done with cheese making and came and helped. We got her in, and here she is, and she's had a beautiful Angus cross heifer calf. Got herself a baby, a little Ganymede. How you doing, sweetie? You all good? You're not having another one, are you? How are you and Ganymede, Mabel? Hello, sweetheart. How's the baby? Leaves us Luna as the last cow to give birth in 2025. I think the next cow due is Nettle, who's out. Where's Nettle? I guess that's Nettle. They grow up so big. They change colors and change characters grazing. So sometimes you lose track of them. Apparently we left the iodine dip bottle out and the cows were playing with it. Percy will not be denied. We'd like to be able to, like calf share they call it, but this barn isn't quite set up for it. So, and our parlor isn't set up for it. So we're gonna do some modified cow sharing, which is leaving the calf on the cow as much as possible, but we still need the milk. Well, Percy's not happy about being surreptitiously weaned when I added him to the group pen. Trixie's not happy about her milking robot being denied access to her. And Mabel and Ganymede are getting along just fine, which is awesome. I'm so glad I caught the fact that she was about to give birth and put her in the pen. It wasn't even an hour later that she popped out a chunk of an Angus cross. Worth grass measuring. Beautiful evening. It's finally cooled down enough to walk, although I'm soaked in sweat. It's gone down to about 80 degrees finally. The humidity broke and there's a nice sea breeze. This is what I like to see. This is where the homeowner mows, and then This is the grass I cut. So we're gaining. It's getting, second cut's gaining height. Over here at my final set of fields, 5 miles closer to the ocean and on a different cove. And it's an entirely different weather picture. I don't know if you can see it, but that's fog. The coast, the bay, and the is right there, and that is all fog. And it's got to be 5-10 degrees cooler here. It's kind of nice. That means in this microclimate, the grass is actually looking really good. This is probably the best field so far. It's tall as my hand. If I had cows over here to graze, this would be ideal. I want it a little bit longer for baling, for silage, but we're getting there. Day 3. It's nice not to have to milk Mabel at night or feed Ganymede at night. So the calf sharing at night for 1 or 2 cows is working. I know Allison would like to do it with the whole herd. We just don't have the infrastructure. It requires barn space that we don't have and field access that we can't procure right now, just because you have to have night fields that the cows can have the calves with them. And none of our fields have calf-proof fencing for little calves. Mimsy's meeting the piglets for the first time. Naughty piglets are up here where they're not supposed to be.
You have a good day. You're a camera
She's
hound.
ready for her close-up. Out you go, Libby baby.
Right.
It's Sunday morning and we're running late, and I came down the hill because I hadn't heard the cows come up. I thought I was going to have to get down. So I came down the hill to get the cows because they've been grazing down the hill in the forest. Didn't hear any up here. Well, that's because they're all laying all chill and calm. Go figure. Guess they got the Sunday vibe too. Down here moving field lines and picking wild raspberries. Bush here is loaded. I'm gonna have to go get a container and some bug spray.
I know that's supposed to be blueberries that go plop, 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 but raspberries make the same sound. There are a million of them.
We've never been berry picking with the cows before.
I don't think they're gonna help.
They want the berries themselves. Don't show them the best spots.
Yeah, I hardly have any.
You're doing good.
But yeah, these are all unripe, so these are a few more days to go.
I figure by the time we get back here, they won't be here.
Yeah.
Doing this, I'm reminded of my great aunt Violet's diaries from the 20s. She kept records of how much wild berry they picked in the railroad cuts that were going in northern Minnesota, and there were ungodly amounts of wild strawberries, like quarts.
Yeah.
And wild raspberries, and they would think nothing of taking off from the farm and spending 2-3 hours to pick wild fruit.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't?
Well, who wouldn't? But most people don't.
Too bad we have to get them from Canada.
So all the other plating will happen up here.
Okay, great.
Food. Folks, I'm just going to introduce you to Chef Lexi and her assistant Alex, and she's going to tell you about this course.
So we have been inspired by Thai food this evening. It's Allison's birthday, and she loves pork satay, so that kind of inspired the whole thing. And here we have a Penang curry, which is a pinker curry rather than red or green. And it's with some sauteed veggies, so bell peppers, onions, some mushrooms, and the over jasmine rice. And then there's a little micro cilantro for most of you, and nasturtium with it as well.
All the food's been fantastic so far.
Thank you so much.
Well, if it isn't the gang of four again. It's bedtime, piglets. Run along home. It is the 22nd of July, sometime in the morning, and I should be out rolling hay. But instead, I've got the baler torn apart again. So I got everything fixed on the intake feed the other day, and I hooked up the PTO shaft to try it out. But there was a hesitancy. Insert video here. It just wasn't working right. Definitely not how it had been working. And I knew what I knew all along. I suspected that it had something to do with this section of the baler here, because I'd been breaking shear pins. So that was Saturday. I discovered that. Sunday we had our supper here at the farm with people, so I was totally involved in cleaning up and working for that. And then, so Monday morning, yesterday, bright and early, I put it out to the Kloss forum on Facebook, and someone had suggested, hey, you didn't have all the hoses hooked up, just the PTO, you didn't have the computer on. Maybe in other instances, on other balers, on other systems on the baler, it needs to have all that stuff hooked up and pressurized. Maybe there was a clutch that wasn't released or something that caused that. And perfectly plausible suggestion, and one that I was optimistic might solve my problem. So I hooked it all up yesterday, got it running. Same hesitancy. Yeah, they said cycle the gate a couple times, so I did that. I made sure that everything was working great, except for the intake. So I parked it, and I knew pretty much exactly what was the issue, and I've stripped quite a bit out of here. These bearings on here can seize, and they go around a concentric track that they require free motion. And additionally, those cams also turn the tines to create a kind of a sweeping action. And so those bearings that the tines are on can fail. So started stripping things off. It got really difficult. There's some roll pins that I still have to remove, and I've got to try and get those cams off. But the long and the short of it is the cam bearings were shot, and the tine arm bearings are shot on at least 3. So that would definitely cause that hesitancy. It would cause the shear pins breaking. It would cause tine arms to break. So there's where we're at. Yet another day, probably another week without the baler, because I'm going to have to go get parts for this. I still have to figure out how to get those cams off, because that's not going to be easy. And so that's what I'll be working on today. Naughty barnyard snorks. Oh, don't go down that road. Go join your sisters. Coming down with your dinner anyway. For a small farm like ours, every cow is vital. If one of the cows is sick or not producing milk or they have an off day, then on a night like tonight, when I have to put milk in the bulk tank, there's a certain amount of milk that has to go in the tank to make it useful. There's a certain amount of milk that has to go in the tank, otherwise the milk will freeze because it won't get agitated. And so that means that every drop of milk is vital. Now, when we have all cows in production, that's not an issue. But like right now, 3 cows aren't going in the bulk tank because Mabel just freshened. Bramble freshened recently, but we're getting her tests back. And Lottie has had a bad case of mastitis that we're treating with antibiotics, so that milk gets thrown away. So we're down 3 volumes of milk. So if any of the other cows are down, it means there's trouble. We squeak by. Now, fortunately, I made an adjustment to the bulk tank so that we can actually get by with 12 gallons as the minimum in the tank. And we could easily achieve that. Between this first cohort, we'll produce 6 gallons at least. However, we're making the difficult decision to retire Dulcie. She's got a one-way ticket to Iceland coming up this next week. Not only does she have a bad hernia that one of the other cows caused a couple years back by ramming her with her horn. Her udder is sprung, so the ligaments are broken so that it's going to sag worse and worse. But she also, as a heifer, used to eat all kinds of garbage. I was forever, I don't know, wherever she was, she always had something in her mouth that she shouldn't, that I was pulling out. And I think she's always had a problem, and I think that may have been it. That she has plastic or something inside of her that's limiting her nutrition, and now she has the hernia on her side, which has gotten worse in the last month. And so we decided that for her own sake, there's no way to fix any of her problems that we will gain back in meat that we put into her. And it's a shame because she is a lovely cow, and she is also a productive cow. Even with this sprung udder, she puts out 5 gallons a day. But it's just we can tell that she's in pain, so we're gonna solve that for her. Maybe not in a pleasant way. Some of you may disagree with us turning our retired dairy animals into beef, but it is honoring their life. It's one more thing. It would be a shame to just put her to sleep and bury her. Plenty of people do that, but she isn't a pet. She's an economic concern. We have raised her since she was a calf, along with her cohort mate Libby. They were born about the same time. We love her. I mean, honestly, she is the sweetest cow. Her mother was sweet. It wasn't an easy decision to retire her mother. Her mother was our spokes cow, our first cow that we started this little dairy adventure with. My 3rd dairy, but with Allison and I, and making the cheese from their milk. The Darla, Dulcie, Dory line was very important to us. So it's with a heavy heart that we're milking her for among the last times the next few days before retiring her. And that puts us at a crimp in our milk program because that's 5 gallons a day that we don't have. Now, granted, since she was a calf, since we raised her, we have improved the quality. We know a lot more about breeding for improved milk components, and we've learned a lot. So the new heifers that are coming online, Bramble and Trixie, who just calved, we're getting Mabel back, Luna's gonna calve. Those are all higher productive cows than Dulcie, and they're younger. Dulcie's 7 years old, I think. And so, you know, her mother, Lottie, is 12 years old. The other, our other herd queen, Lottie, is 12 years old. I have no problem milking milk cows as long as they are healthy and not in pain or distress in any way. We do our best to look after our girls because they're our partners. They make us our living. You know, I raise the grass, they turn it into milk, which gets turned into cheese. It's their magic, not mine. I just have to make sure there's enough raw material in front of them to work their alchemy. And it distresses me when we have one. At the time that Dulcie got injured with her hernia, we were told to color then. But she wasn't in any distress or any pain. It was a small thing, and it didn't get worse. It's only in the last few months that it's progressively gotten worse, and she has something else going on with her. And like I said, she has never in the last few years been able to gain weight and keep weight on at all. She produces a beautiful calf. Her calf was enormous. This last one was an Angus calf. But yeah, she's sadly going to go away. And that is a hard, in all economic senses and emotional senses. You know, it's a hard economic sense because we're going to lose that milk, which has a value that gets turned into cheese. We're going to lose this animal that is productive in terms of producing calves for us and more milk in the future. And also, you know, like I said before, an actual partner in our adventure. And one of the sweetest cows I've ever known. Hence her name, Dulcie. She will co-nurse any of our calves, take them on, look after them, not a problem for her. She's just, but that's also part of her limitation is the other cows know that she's this sort of sweet, naive, you know, blonde who just gets abused constantly from the other cows. So that's fortunately in the pecking order she should be quite high up, but unfortunately she isn't. So that's going away on Tuesday. That's coming up. That's gonna be a hard day for us. It is the 28th of July. I'm out here setting up a line so the cows can graze a half day. I haven't measured grass for a week. We only have one vehicle, and so sometimes getting use of it is a challenge. If I don't have to take the tractor somewhere, I won't. It's been connected to the baler, helping hold the baler steady while I pound on it. But we're taking Dulcie to slaughter tomorrow, so I gotta disconnect the tractor later today, get it hooked up so we can load her first thing in the morning tomorrow. In order to get to where the trailer is, I gotta get rid of the cows out of the barnyard. Nice crop of apples right there. So I'm gonna give them a little paddock of grass here for the day. It's not overly hectic, as they say. Grass growth, the orchard grass and meadow fescue clumps are doing good, but the clovers haven't recovered. And I think that's just because they're a crowned, orchard grass and meadow fescues are crowned plants, and they're also taller. The cows left more residual behind, and so the roots are deeper, so they're getting more moisture. As we only had a splattering of rain yesterday, and I wouldn't even say a quarter inch. And it's not enough. That was really the first significant rain we've had in a month. So everything's behind. Our grasses here are a lot of Kentucky bluegrass in Maine, in this pasture too. Even with all my trying to improve it, it still just persists, and it's great because it crops close, and it's fine if we had horses. It forms a dense sod, but as far as actual productive grazing for dairy cows, it's not so good. Anyway, so the field has not recovered. And really, it's only been 15 days since they've been in this part of the field. So I'm kind of honestly glad that it's recovered as much as it has. Normally it's been a little cooler despite some really hot days. The temperatures have been all over the place, and I know down below in the shade of the silver pasture, there was a place where the cows didn't graze well at all. Maybe I didn't leave them in there long enough. I don't know. I was really surprised by the amount of grass they left behind. They could have had easily another half day down there, but I had to remove the fences to come up here for this. So we're just gonna feed them silage in the barn at night, or some form of that, and let them graze out here for 12 hours and feed them in the barn for 12 hours, just to slow up the rotation, just to give the end of the field a bit more chance to regrow. But it's cool this morning, but the bugs are vicious, so hence I'm wearing this getup. All right, I have traveled an hour and a half plus to get to the Kloss dealer in Turner, Maine, and pick up the parts that I need to fix the baler. Really nice to be able to afford one of these liner rakes. Huh. Yeah, that's a sweet rake, but not worth $26,000. So I got my parts. I needed a couple other parts, and they don't even have them. Among the most common parts on the baler are the tines, and they don't have any. I need about 8 more. And I wish I'd ordered them last week, because I'd have them by now. So, yeah, that sucks. And they didn't have any shims, because I know I've busted up a shim. So again, that sucks. So yeah, it's hit or miss with we got air out here anywhere. Where's some fucking air? Out there, right here. Yeah, that's a problem when they don't stock common parts. And so I've been considering buying a Kloss rake, rotary rake. They're really expensive, but they're well built. But if the dealer doesn't stock common parts that you can go and get when you're broken down, I don't know if I want to do that. All right, well, return trip home. I gotta stop at the feed store. Another hour and a half back though. I've been hoping to do this on a rainy day. Nope, hotter than Hades today. Come on, Dulcie, you get, darling. Come on, good girl. That's it, sweetie. Up you go. Come on, darling. Come on, darling. There you go. We're taking Dulcie to the processor this morning, or rather, I'm taking Dulcie to the processor this morning. And we put her in the trailer last night just because it was going to be easier, and didn't know where the cows were going to be this morning. It meant we had a little bit easier time getting up, and we didn't have to fight the other cows who would have coffee. We didn't have to fight the other cows who would have thought we were pulling her through the parlor for milking. So I got a flat tire though. I got to pump up. Guess I don't need the rear window because I can't see out of it because the trailer's there. Here we go. This is a hard one, I'm not gonna lie. Dulcie is the first heifer from our first cow that we started this dairy adventure with. And she and Libby was born first, Lottie, and about less than a month later, Dulcie was born. And they may be frenemies, but they're close enough. They calve within a week or a day of each other. They're very close. They've been their cohort has been one of the few pairs because we milk in pairs. They're consistently paired together. Yeah, the loss of Dulcie is hard. It's emotionally hard. I wasn't expecting that because she's a cow, right? I mean, we know all our cows. They all have a finite time with us. All right, this is not going to be fun because I don't mind driving the tractor on the road. I don't mind taking that trailer with the tractor to the slaughterhouse. It's the other drivers that bug me, and I gotta go. This is, I have to go on Route 1 for the longest stretch that I ever drive Route 1 with a tractor and an implement or trailer. And that's nerve-wracking because how people drive, how they respond to the tractor, the fact that I can only go 25 miles an hour max really pisses a lot of people off, even if it's just for, you know, a couple mile stretch of the road. They get so bent out of shape. Fortunately, we're early enough. It just comes 6:30. I got to get her there by 8. It's only a 40-minute trip, so it shouldn't be too bad. I like to get there early, get into position. That way I don't hold them up, and I can get back to the farm as early as I can. So I've arrived at the processing plant, euphemistically called slaughterhouse, and mostly uneventful. I'd say about 20 cars passed me illegally in multiple different ways, just on the short section of Route 1. It is so nerve-wracking driving. I don't get why people can't slow down, follow the road rules, just make it safe for everybody. Passing 4 cars passed while there was oncoming traffic. Fortunately, they forced the other people in the other lane to pull into the breakdown lane. Yeah, driving in the breakdown lane is illegal. and dangerous because that's where all the debris gets swept. Broken glass, nails, broken metal, stones, you name it. Driving in the breakdown lane is a sure way to have an accident. Unless you have to, unless you are in danger, then that's what it's for. It's for pulling off the road, breaking down. People always try and get me to drive in the breakdown lane, and I refuse to because, again, it is illegal to drive in the breakdown lane, and each of these tires is a couple $1,000. I'm not going to shred a tire to give them an extra 2 minutes less travel time. So Route 1 is a nightmare. Everything else fine. I like coming to the processor at this hour. I got here and took me 45 minutes. I was going a little slow because Finntown Road is so rough. And just bouncing all over the place at 25 miles an hour. It is largely the suspension of the tractor and the weight of the trailer on it. Remember, this is a 110 horsepower tractor. Most pickup trucks, certainly a 1-ton pickup truck is 300 horsepower. So this has got a lot of pull. It just doesn't got a lot of speed and a lot of go on the road. It's great in the field. So yeah, this is one of the worst tasks I have is driving on Route 1. Anything going, and hopefully this week I'm going to start haying over in Thomaston. Those are our farthest fields away. They're 12 miles away from the farm. Again, I have to travel a section of Route 1. Fortunately, it's a slightly shorter section, and it's almost when I'm all the way there, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I've got to make those plans because there's multiple trips to get the mower into the field, and then I got to bring a trailer to haul bales back, and I'm going to throw the rake on the trailer and the bale wrapper on the trailer, so there's just one trip to get all that stuff there, and then I'll go back at night, and then when I come back the next day to bale, I'll just bring the baler. And there's enough field there, 25 acres or more, that I leave equipment there, just not to have to shuttle it back and forth. All right, the deed she is done. Sweetest cow in the world just got dropped off for slaughter. Kind of makes me feel a little heartless, but then again, not. She has lived a good life. She will help others live a good life. So now I have to get home. 45 minutes on the way back. All the traffic nightmare that entails. Allison's been milking the other cows while I'm here, so got home in time to move lines and get everybody out on pasture. Then I got to work on the baler.